So he was telling me you can't drink blood, like in Old Testament laws.
Whose blood can't you drink?
Well, I thought it was always the blood of animals, but he was like, no, blood is blood.
No, that's not true. He's
Yeah,
lying
I
to
mean,
you.
that's what I told him, but
You cannot drink the blood of the animal, and that makes sense. Why? Because
it takes
the
life.
blood is the soul, the life of the victim, right?
Yeah,
So when you drink the blood of the animal, you're drinking the life of the animal, right?
yeah,
But the animal cannot preserve your life because the animal is inferior to you in value in the sight of God, correct?
yeah.
Who has greater value and dignity in the sight of God?
The human.
Human. So why do you think animal sacrifices had to be repeated over and over again?
It was atonement. There wasn't an eternal
Well, why had to
sacrifice.
be repeated over and over again?
There wasn't an infinite, like, eternal sacrifice.
Because an animal life is not equal to a human life.
Oh yeah,
It's inferior in value, right?
yeah. That makes much more sense.
So how can an animal life justify and satisfy as a payment for human life? Because the soul that sins shall die, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how can an animal life, animal soul, be adequate payment for a human soul? It cannot, correct?
Yeah, it can't.
So what happens is, because the animals could not be a sufficient, adequate payment for a human soul that sinned, they would be repeated as a sign to God that a death takes place when someone sins. So either you die or someone else dies in your place to spare you from dying. So in this case, the animals, but the animals are not adequate enough, sufficient enough to provide an adequate payment to make satisfaction for a human
Yeah,
debt, right? Because it's
yeah,
inferior. So God had them repeat it to provide a temporary covering. And therefore, when you take in the blood of an animal, you're taking in the life of an animal, right?
yeah,
But an animal's life is inferior to your life.
yeah.
So what would be the point of taking in the animal life?
There wouldn't be a point. It'd just be
For
stupid.
the life of the flesh, Leviticus 17:11,
Mm-hmm.
the soul of the flesh is in the blood, and I've given it to you on the altar to make atonement for your souls, for it is the blood that makes atonement by the life. So, and this is the context of not eating blood.
Mm-hmm.
Here it is. What's the context? Because when you eat blood, you're eating the soul, the life of the victim.
Yeah.
So you understand the connection?
Yeah, I
Listening?
do.